Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Keene Observations. I'm your host, Chris Keene. Today, we're going to be getting into the news. We've got a domestic terrorist attack here in Minnesota. We had a terrorist attack an ICE agent minding his own business. It's disgusting. Breaking POV footage from the ICE agent who was rammed by anti-ICE activist Renee Good in Minneapolis. This has been released. He was clearly not just hit, but hit hard. All right? 100% justified use of force. Waltz and the mayor are liars. Glad this agent is safe. I agree. I'm very glad this agent is safe. This was a very dangerous altercation here. You see this thug here in the hoodie and the, we got what is that, a drug rug? The degenerate in a drug rug and a beanie? This woman has a phone. I don't know why you have a phone out. That could be a gun right there. That looks like a gun. What is that, rainbow colored? That looks just like a gun. Now they have a dog in the back of the seat. That could be an attack dog. Yet the agent doesn't know what that is. That could be dangerous. That could be putting him in danger. In front of the car, that's where you want to stand. If you're a cop, if you're an officer, if you're an ICE agent, you get in front of a car. That's how you protect your safety. This is in the training books. Now, right there, she says, "I'm not mad at you," and she sounds happy. You know that's actually threatening, though. That's what you said. There was sarcasm there. She was threatening the officer there. "I'm not mad at you." I think we all know what that means. That means I'm about to run you over with my car. We all know that. And the officer right now is scared for his life. He's going around the car.
It's okay, we don't change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's
Look
fine.
at that. That could be a gun. That rainbow-colored phone, that looks just like a gun. The officer doesn't know. He could be anything.
I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Out of the car.
Big boy? Really? We're weight shaming? We're fat shaming now? That's the country we are? We have domestic terrorists fat shaming an officer here. That he's scared for his life right here. That could be. And here he is back again in front of the car. That's where you want to be. That's how you protect yourself. That's how you protect other people. You get in front of a car. And here we have the terrorist. She tries to leave, hits the guy. Now, it wasn't seen there, but the officer shot the terrorist there. Thank God. Thank God. Now, here's another angle of this video. We have the terrorist blocking the road. The terrorist is in the middle of the road. They're blocking the road so much that a car just easily went around her. A car easily just went around her. That's how much she was blocking the road. We can't be having someone impeding traffic like that where a car can easily go around. What you have to do is you have to stop. You have to get out of the car. See, this is how you protect and serve here. You get out of the car. You go up to them.
No!
You try to open their door. Okay, here's the shooting here. Now, we should go back and watch that again. Let's go back and watch that again. There's the car going around. Get out.
No! No! Shame!
Now, there's one shot in the front.
Shame!
And now he keeps shooting through the side window even after she's pulled away. Because he was clearly in danger on the side of the car there. After she's driving away, the officer's in danger. She could back up. He has to make sure that she's gone, you know, that he's taking care of this terrorist. That's how you have to shoot through the window as she's peeling away. That's the only...
What the fuck? What the fuck? You just fucking... What the fuck did you do? You are fucking criminals! You're fucking criminals! What
Now, I assume that lady's yelling at the terrorist that was just shot dead.
What the actual fuck?
I'm glad she's sticking it to the woman who's dead. That's right, she is a terrorist. And she is insane.
What did you do? You! Shame! Shame!
That's right.
Shame! Shame!
A little weird to be yelling at a dead
Shame!
woman. I don't know why she's doing that.
Shame! Dude, what's happening to her? What happened? Dude, you shot her! I'm trying to help! No!
And that's very nice of that lady to help this officer and applaud the officers that way by saying they shot the terrorist. That was good. That's good. See, that's the American spirit. Now here we have, this is DOJ policy on use of force. Firearms may not be discharged solely to disable moving vehicles. Also, placing oneself in the path of a moving vehicle constitutes officer-created jeopardy and undermines any claim that deadly force was necessary. Now, I don't know who wrote this. I think this was put in here by mistake. I don't even know if this is official. This says you should not stand in front of a moving car. See, all the training I know of as a cop, you should stand in front of a car, and as someone is pulling away, you shoot them. That's what you do because you're here to serve the public. You're here to protect and serve. You're looking out for people's best interests. Now, if this woman's pulling away, the only way to protect her and the people around her is shoot and continue to shoot through the window after she's pulled away. Because God knows you're in danger when you're beside the car after she's pulled away. Because that way, not only do you get to kill her, but maybe the car loses control and she hits some other terrorists. You know, as she's pulling away, she could be hitting other terrorists. There could be a terrorist over here, a terrorist over there. That's ICE's job, is to get rid of the terrorists. So you shoot first, think later. That's ICE training. I don't really know what this is all about, where it says you shouldn't do that. I don't know what that is. I'm confused by that one. But here, now this is a former ICE officer who went over and analyzes what happened here. So we'll watch this.
Responsible for every single round that leaves our weapon.
Eric Ballier is a 25-year career federal agent who most recently oversaw use of force investigations for Homeland Security Investigations, or HSI. We asked him what to make of the tactics used by federal agents in the fatal Minnesota shooting.
In my 25 years, I've done hundreds of vehicle stops. If someone is fleeing, that is not a justification for the use of deadly force.
In this moment, the officer crosses in front of the vehicle. He opens fire on the driver, 37-year-old Renee Good.
Now, if you saw there, the ICE officer was filming as he was doing this. That's good. You know, that's going to get his follower count up, to be filming as he's shooting. You gotta think of the social media presence as you're protecting and serving. I mean, it's one thing to get rid of the terrorists and get the illegal immigrants out. It's one thing to do that, but you have to be thinking likes, comments, shares. That's what you're thinking as you're worried about your life. You're thinking, well, if I die, I die. At least I go viral. That's good. He's filming there. I like that.
Officer shot the driver in self-defense.
She then proceeded to weaponize her vehicle, and she attempted to run a law enforcement officer over.
That's right.
But the footage tells a different story. In this clip, we see Good waving cars by, and one car drives past her stopped vehicle.
Like they're someone
That's
impeding.
Exactly what a terrorist would do, is wave cars by, move out of the way. That's how you terrorize a community. That's how you impede ICE. Because she's pretending there. We all know she's about to commit a heinous crime.
The ICE guys, although you did see the SUV drive around them.
Next, officers exit the car and approach Good's vehicle.
Right out of the gate, it's escalatory in nature.
Right, the woman is escalating. She's sitting in her car, backing up out of the way, clearly escalating.
And
you can't be doing that.
The agent with
Look
the
at
black
that. Reverse lights on.
Reaches for the driver's side door handle to try to open it. From the video, like the reverse lights are on.
From this other video angle, we can see that the officer has already crossed in front of the car. He's holding a cell phone.
they are trying to essentially take
Well, he's
some
an
sort of
influencer. I mean, come on. We have ICE influencers now, and that's a good thing. We don't want people focused on their job. When someone has a gun and can kill people, we want them thinking about TikTok. We don't want them thinking about someone's life or who it is they're confronting. They need to be thinking about their influencer status. That's the important thing in this moment.
to show or identify her as a antagonist to their enforcement operations. What he does is cross in front of and stay in front of a occupied running vehicle. You should not be intentionally putting yourself in front of a vehicle unless absolutely necessary. And with a cell phone in his left hand, he draws his pistol with his right hand, and in a very quick succession, rattles off 3 rounds.
Under the Department of Homeland Security's use of force policy, firearms may not be discharged solely to disable a moving vehicle, and shooting at a moving vehicle is tightly restricted.
So my training was that you cannot use deadly or lethal force solely to stop a fleeing vehicle.
Now, this news report is sounding very weird to me. These people almost sound like domestic terrorists themselves, saying, don't get in front of the car, don't shoot, don't kill citizens. So we need to trust our government. We need to believe they're doing the right thing. They're there, they're filming, they're trying to go viral, they're trying to protect us from the illegals. I don't know what these guys are talking about. They almost sound like, where was this guy trained?
The Trump administration maintains the agent opened fire to avoid being run over, but the direction of the tires appears to be facing away from the officer to the right. There's still a dispute as to whether the officer was grazed or struck by the Honda. He continues to fire even after moving out of the way of the vehicle.
If she is intentionally trying to hit that agent or officer, those tires are pointed in the opposite direction, and the vehicle's trajectory after the shots would be continuing to
But that's
left.
what these terrorists do. They try to pretend they're not trying to kill you. They turn the wheel so it looks like they're just trying to get away. They want you to think that. But the ICE officer is a professional. He was trained for 8 weeks. That's the training for ICE officers, 8 weeks. It takes longer to get a driver's license than to become an officer, but this guy knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing, and he knows that if a vehicle is turning away and peeling away, you should keep shooting. Just keep shooting at all times, and definitely stand in front of the car, because that's the most important part. If you want to protect yourself, stand in front of a car. That's what you do.
Years away. Oh my God! According to Ballier, both the officer's gunfire and the car accelerating could have put agents and the surrounding crowd of bystanders in danger.
These are all factors that law enforcement officers have to weigh before pulling the trigger.
Well, that was very interesting. I don't know if I trust that officer. That guy almost sounded like a plant, some kind of terrorist himself. He said he used to work for ICE. Maybe he's a disgruntled employee. I don't know. He sounded like he was making the case that the ICE officer was wrong. That's impossible. ICE can't be wrong. That's the U.S. government. They would never do anything to hurt us. So, good news. Donald Trump vows a day of reckoning and retribution in Minnesota as more ICE agents flood to Minneapolis. This is what we need. Escalation. That's what we need. We got American citizens getting shot in the street, but remember, they're domestic terrorists, and we need more ICE. That's what we need. President Donald Trump vowed a day of reckoning and retribution in Minnesota as the Department of Homeland Security sent hundreds more federal agents to the state this week. Trump issued the warning on social media Tuesday, accusing Democrats of capitalizing on the unrest to shift focus away from Minnesota's ongoing fraud scandal. Kristi Noem announced on Sunday that the administration is sending hundreds more ICE agents to Minneapolis this week. This is a tweet from Donald Trump. Do the people of Minnesota really want to live in a community in which there are thousands of already convicted murderers, drug dealers and addicts, rapists, violent released and escaped prisoners, dangerous people from foreign mental institutions and insane asylums, and other deadly criminals too dangerous to even mention? Do you want that? All the patriots of ICE want to do is remove them from your neighborhood and send them back to the prisons and mental institutions from which they came, most in foreign countries who illegally entered the USA through Sleepy Joe Biden's horrible open border policy. We don't want violent criminals threatening the lives of American citizens. We have ICE for that. That's why we have ICE. We don't want crazy mental institution nut jobs in the streets killing Americans. That's ICE's job. Do you want to get killed by some guy from Somalia? No. I want a trained ICE officer to shoot me in the face. That's the American dream right there. You can't have these people from God knows where. Where are these people from? We don't know. They don't have the training that ICE has to shoot us in the face. We need trained officers to shoot us in the face. We can't have some guy from Somalia, no training, just coming up, bam, bam. No. You need a trained ICE officer standing in front of your car and then shooting through your window as you peel away. It's amazing that I even have to say this. Every place we go, crime comes down, says Donald Trump. In Chicago, despite a weak and incompetent governor and mayor fighting us all the way, a big improvement was made. Thousands of criminals were removed. That's right. Minnesota Democrats love the unrest that anarchists and professional agitators are causing because it gets the spotlight off of the $19 billion that was stolen by really bad and deranged people. Fear not, great people of Minnesota. The day of reckoning and retribution is coming. I, for one, can't wait for it. The protests, which have spread to other cities, including Los Angeles, Portland, and New York, come after an ICE officer fatally shot 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good, who DHS alleges weaponized her vehicle and attempted to run a law enforcement officer over. It was pretty clear in that clip what happened. I don't know why it says alleges. Video of the shooting has become a political flashpoint, with some saying it supports the government's position that the agent acted in self-defense, and others saying the footage calls into question DHS's explanation and raises broader concerns about the use of force by the only people questioning that are domestic terrorists themselves. That's the only people are saying that. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry wrote in a New York Times op-ed that the Trump administration pushed a false narrative about the shooting and demonized Good. The chaos that ICE and the Trump administration have brought to Minneapolis made this tragedy sadly predictable. ICE and Trump are the only people keeping order in Minneapolis. We need the federal government in Minneapolis. Otherwise, we have terrorists like Renee Good driving their car in the street, wearing a drug rug flannel and a beanie, her girlfriend there. Well, you can't have degenerates like that. I've watched multiple videos from multiple perspectives. It seems clear that Mrs. Good, a mother of three, was trying to leave the scene, not attack an agent. I didn't see that. I saw a violent criminal say, "I'm not mad at you." We all know what that means. "I'm not mad at you" means I'm about to run you over with my car. We all know that. Every reasonable person. When you say "I'm not mad at you," your first thought is, I'm about to run you over. That's Minnesota on Monday sued to block the federal government from pursuing further ICE operations in the state. Now that I don't understand. Why would you not want more of this? You don't want more American citizens shot in the face? That's how we protect our borders. That's how we get down illegal immigrants, is we start shooting American citizens in the face. That's what we do. Now the schools are shut down in Minnesota. Minnesota schools shut down. Teacher unions demand ICE leave the city. I'm starting to think these teachers are domestic terrorists too. If I'm being honest with you, they sound like domestic terrorists. An official from Roosevelt High School in Minneapolis told NPR News that armed U.S. Border Patrol goons came onto school property during dismissal Wednesday and began tackling people. That's good. Why would you not go to a high school and tackle people? That's how we keep America safe. That they handcuffed 2 staff members and released chemical weapons on bystanders. That's what we need. Have you seen these kids in high school these days? They need to be tear gassed. Have you seen them? They're out of control with their skibbity bibbity, what are they even talking about? No cap. What is it? You're about to get capped by ICE. All right, we got some video here. Here's a video.
Oh!
See, there's a bunch of terrorists here. These are all domestic terrorists attacking these peaceful officers. Look at these terrorists.
That was a grenade! That was a tear gas grenade! Damn! I need a bear tackle down in football, bitch!
Listen, screaming at the peaceful officers like that.
They literally just killed someone.
Where'd kill you?
Totally out of control. Thankfully, ICE is there to keep them in control.
You guys gotta go.
Craziness. Here's another video.
Just hours after a federal agent fatally shot a woman in...
Now, look at that guy attacking those 5 ICE officers. They're just trying to stand there on the snow and enjoy a nice snowy day, and that guy is on the ground threatening them. I mean, they have to kick him in the face like 5 times while he's on the ground with 5 of them on top of him. That's how dangerous this guy is. Those officers are scared for their life right now. Let's watch that again. Now you see, the guy is running away from them. That is very threatening. That's one man running away from them, and you got 5 guys going after him. They're in danger.
Just hours after a
look
federal...
at how the guy is on the ground. He could do anything. He could get up with a knife, a gun, they don't know.
Agent fatally
shot. It's very
shot
important when you have 5 guys on top of someone to be kneeing him in the face,
a woman in her vehicle.
Face.
We captured these scenes at
There's another terrorist.
Roosevelt High School, a few miles away.
The first thing I see is 6 or 7 or 8 SUVs parked in the street, people in, military fatigues essentially en masse. There were lots of yelling, whistling. It was really chaotic.
It was around 3:30 p.m. Classes had been dismissed and students were trickling out of school.
We were in a staff meeting talking about the shooting that had happened earlier in the day. Another staff member came in and informed us within about 5 or 10 minutes of that meeting starting that the agents were outside.
Teacher Nick Wilson ran out and started filming on his phone. One student said,
There you go. That guy on the ground, he was wearing boots. He could take a boot off, throw it at an officer. He could try to kick up with his leg. You need 5 guys on him. And they're saying students are coming out of school. Any of those students could be a terrorist. They look like terrorists. This teacher looks
she
like
fled the scene after seeing agents emerging from their cars.
We see them tackle teachers on the floor, and that's when I was like, oh my God. I ran because I was scared for my life.
In a statement to the New York Times, the Department of Homeland Security said agents were chasing a U.S. citizen who they said had rammed his vehicle into a government vehicle before driving and stopping in a school zone. DHS said that it was not targeting the school, its students, or its staff. The Times independently confirmed that one educator was detained by federal agents and has since been released.
It made me not want to come back to school no more because it's so terrifying. So yeah, that's how I feel.
Minneapolis Public Schools told the Times the incident is currently...
Now that girl's scared for her life because she knows there's all these domestic terrorists around, and she's happy that ICE is there to protect her. These domestic terrorists are surrounding this girl. She just wants to go to school, and she's surrounded by these teachers and these 16-year-old kids at school who are just flat-out domestic terrorists terrorizing the community. Thankfully, Donald Trump is sending ICE in to protect girls like this. That's what we need.
All MPS schools are closed until Monday out of an abundance of caution.
I'm still kind of in shock that was something that happened.
Again, the beanie, the long hair.
at this place. You know, I've
beard.
called home for the last 14, 15 years of my life.
Thankfully, we have ICE going in to take care of these degenerates. I mean, this is truly scary. Additional schools throughout Minnesota canceled classes Friday in light of ongoing unrest after the fatal shooting of a woman by a federal agent. Now, they say woman, they should say terrorist there, okay? Fridley Public Schools announced the district will not host in-person classes on Friday, joining Minneapolis Public Schools after officials canceled classes on Thursday through the remainder of the week. We need ICE out of Minneapolis, says Katina Taylor, president of the Educational Support. Okay, I think we all know who Katina is. Domestic terrorist. We need ICE out of Minneapolis? I think she meant in Minneapolis. That I don't know if that's a typo or this is I'm confused. We need ICE away from our schools now. Since arriving, ICE has been a dangerous and out of control force, putting every Minnesotan in danger. See, I don't see that. I see ICE protecting the school. They show up at the school, they tackle people, 5 guys on 1 guy, they tear gas kids. They're protecting them. Don't you see there's so many terrorists around? There's so many domestic terrorists around. There's so many illegal immigrants around threatening these kids. ICE has to go there and tackle people and tear gas people. It's the only way to protect them. But this person, I guess, doesn't get that. Homeland Security Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin told America's Newsroom Friday that our law enforcement does not go into schools unless there is a public safety threat within those schools. That we don't go to, ICE doesn't go into schools, except when they're tackling a guy, 5 guys on 1 and tear gassing kids. Other than that, they don't go in schools, okay? What we saw on Wednesday, which one of those educators was referring to, was there was an individual who was assaulting our law enforcement, and he started a chase that went about 5 miles. The subject of this chase started going over barriers. He was running red lights, and eventually he took the chase onto school grounds. Now, this is a terrorist we're talking about here, probably an illegal, and ICE followed him to the school. It's not ICE's fault they went to the school. Our law enforcement did not go into this school and made sure to defuse the situation. They peacefully diffused the situation. They de-escalated. How did they do that? Tear gas, punching people, shoving people, tackling someone, 5 guys on 1, kneeing them in the face on the ground. That's how you de-escalate. They're trained. That's the training. Don't you see? You and I couldn't do that. If we showed up, all hell would break loose. If I was at that school, I wouldn't be peaceful like ICE. I wouldn't be tear gassing and punching. I'd probably go and say, hey, guys, can we de-escalate? Can we calm down? Let's all get along. But that's the violent kind of guy I am. I don't have the training ICE has to be peaceful with the tear gas and the punching and all that. The move comes after a surge of more than 2,000 federal agents arrived in the Twin Cities this week, ramping up immigration efforts. On Wednesday, Renee Cole Good was shot and killed by an ICE agent after allegedly moving her vehicle toward the officer in what has been described by DHS as an act of self-defense. That's right. It was self-defense. Don't forget that. Later that day, ICE agents deployed a chemical irritant outside of... It was just a chemical irritant. People act like we're terrorizing these kids in these schools. It's just a chemical irritant. Yet, what do you think's in the school lunch at these schools? There's chemical irritants everywhere. It's an FDA-approved chemical irritant. That's all they were spraying. That's just outside Minneapolis. All right, they deployed the chemical irritant outside the high school in Minneapolis and took at least 1 staff member into custody. Good, probably a terrorist. A mother was murdered. An elementary school was forced to lock down, and that's because of the illegals. All right, that's because of the terrorists. ICE is there protecting these people from that. Grown men used pepper spray on terrified high school students on school property, and that was just on Wednesday. Well, they have to. They have to do that. You have to use pepper spray on kids. That's how you protect them. I wish these people could understand that. This is the opposite of protecting our kids. What? Whoa. This is the opposite of keeping the peace. According to data released by the National Assessment of Education Progress, less than half of Minnesota's students in both 4th and 8th grades were able to demonstrate proficiency in math and reading. So less than half of Minnesota students are able to do math or read. Did you ever think maybe that's why we're spraying them with the chemical irritants? Maybe that's to help, maybe that helps their brains grow. School isn't doing it. ICE is there to help. This is an FDA-approved chemical irritant that helps these kids' brains grow. This isn't some dangerous thing. The teachers are the terrorists. They're the ones poisoning our kids' minds with books and things like that. You need to spray them, get them, punch them. That's how you get them to know math and know how to read. These people just don't get it. What we're seeing is that our students are still in recovery mode from the onset of the pandemic. Julio Caesar, Executive Director of Research, Evaluation, Assessment, says. However, Minnesota 8th graders ranked 4th in the nation in math scores. That's because they're not getting punched enough. They're not getting tackled. They're not getting beaten up. Spray them with a little tear gas. That'll get those math scores up. That'll get the reading comprehension up. You're not going to do it through learning. As long as ICE is in Minnesota, we won't be safe, Taylor said. On this day of mourning, our hearts go out to Renee Good and her family. To make sure no one else has to suffer this devastating loss, ICE needs to stay away from all our schools starting today. I disagree with that. We need more ICE in schools. All right, here we have Besant says Minnesota fraud recovery could help fund Trump's $1.5 trillion defense plan. That's great. So when we recover the money from the Minnesota fraud, we can put it into the military, and God knows the military needs that money. The military only has $1 trillion budget. Do you realize that's nothing? $1 trillion? Where else are we going to spend $1 trillion? What, on the homeless people in LA? There's 35 million people living in poverty in America. They don't need the $1 trillion. The military needs that. I don't know how people don't understand this. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said Thursday that President Donald Trump's proposed $1.5 trillion boost in defense spending would be achievable if the federal government can successfully claw back money lost to fraud, waste, and abuse, pointing to welfare fraud investigations as a potential funding source. Speaking at the Minnesota Economic Club, Bessent said the Treasury Department is intensifying efforts to recover taxpayer dollars lost to welfare fraud, describing Minnesota as a focal point of ongoing investigations tied to federally funded programs. Minnesota, unfortunately, is ground zero for what may be one of the most egregious welfare scams in our nation's history to date. I can't believe these people defrauded the government out of money that could be used to... Israel needs that money, all right? You're stealing money from Israel now? Ukraine needs that money. We have places to bomb. I wish these people understood this. Bessent said recovering those funds could help finance Trump's military spending to a cool it's a cool $1.5 trillion. Thank God it's cool. I agree, it is cool. Yesterday, President Trump announced he was considering a $500 billion increase in defense spending. Asked whether the government could afford it, he replied, yes. If we can get the money back from fraud, we can afford it. Unbelievable. Pressed on whether the recovered funds would be substantial enough to meaningfully increase defense spending, Bessent said they would. The revelation comes amid a sweeping fraud scandal in Minnesota that has drawn national attention and is estimated to involve at least $9 billion in misused funds. $9 billion. That's like a month of funding for Israel that was stolen from you and I. We work every day in this country to fund these foreign wars, to give money to other countries. We work hard for that. And these people in Minnesota are stealing that from us. They're stealing our God-given right to support Israel, to support Ukraine, to go to war in Venezuela and Greenland and Iran. That's what you and I work for. We work to bomb countries. We need that. These people in Minnesota are stealing that from us. They're stealing our American dream. The revelation comes amid a sweeping fraud scandal in Minnesota that has drawn national attention and is estimated to involve at least $9 billion in I already read that. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, a Democrat, announced Monday he will not seek re-election amid growing scrutiny over the state's handling of the case. Bessent said the administration views aggressive fraud enforcement as a key component of its broader effort to rein in government waste. I like that, while funding national security priorities without raising taxes. Turning to Minnesota's future, Bessent said the state had lost its way in recent years but could regain its standing under a different policy approach. For decades, Minnesota led the Midwest as a hub for culture, business, and innovation, but it doesn't have to be this way. President Trump's hope and ultimately his invitation is that Minnesota becomes a North Star state again. Now, here we have Donald Trump.
At some point, when things settle down, I'm going to meet with China, and I'm going to meet with Russia, in particular, those two, and I'm going to say there's no reason for us to be spending almost $1 trillion on military. There's no reason for you to be spending $400 billion. China's going to be at $400 billion. We're at $1 trillion. We're going to be at close to $1 trillion. And I'm going to say we can settle this on, we can spend this on other things. We don't have to spend this on military.
Okay, was that AI? That might have been an AI video. I don't know what that is. All right, sorry, I might have played the wrong video here.
There's no reason for us to be building brand new nuclear weapons. We already have so many. You could destroy the world 50 times over, 100 times over. And here we are building new nuclear weapons, and they're building nuclear weapons, and China's building new nuclear weapons, and China's trying to catch up because, you know, they're very substantially behind, but within 5 or 6 years, they'll be even. And we're all spending a lot of money that we could be spending on other things that are actually, hopefully, much more productive.
I'm confused. What's more productive than bombing countries? What's more productive than funding, giving money to other countries and building up our military? This guy sounds like a domestic terrorist. I'm starting to think, is this Donald Trump? He sounds like a domestic terrorist. We need to send ICE after this man. This man is a threat. I don't know what this is, if this is AI. I hope this is AI generated. This is not the Donald Trump that I know, I'll tell you that.
One of the first meetings I want to have is with President Xi of China, President Putin of Russia, and I want to say, let's cut our military budget in half. And we can do that. And I think we'll be able to do it.
Cut the military budget in half. To do what? Spend it on the American people? Why would we do that? We can't help America when Israel needs help, Venezuela, Iran, Ukraine. That's what you and I work for. America last. That's what we're about. I thought. I don't know what this is. I don't know if this is AI generated. I don't know. People say America first, but the real way to be America first is to fund other countries first. Look out for other countries first, because that's how we protect ourselves. As long as we're starving, that's fine as long as the other countries are doing well. If Israel's safe, if Venezuela's doing good, if Ukraine is safe, if we're bombing Iran and Yemen and Syria, that's how we stay safe. That's America first, not cutting the military budget in half. What are you going to help some homeless people or give it to Americans living in poverty, the working poor? What are you going to do? That's a waste. That's not America first. Is Benjamin Netanyahu. He needs the money, not the homeless guy that lives on my street. That's not America. Anyways, normally I love Donald Trump. I don't know what this is. Maybe this is AI and I've been duped. I don't know. But I'm glad that we're taking care of the terrorists in our streets in Minnesota. I'm glad we're sticking up for Americans. We're getting rid of these illegals where tear gassing kids in schools and shooting Americans in the face. That's how we protect our borders. All right? And I'm glad we're getting money back from fraud to spend on foreign wars. That's how we put America first. That's it. I love what's happening. I think this is great. I usually love Donald Trump. I don't know what this is. I hope this is some made-up thing, because otherwise we need to send ICE after this guy, because he sounds like a terrorist, if I'm being honest with you. All right, that has been this episode of Keene Observations. I am your host, Chris Keene. Thanks for watching. God bless America.